All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
It becomes complex when a television network has an interest in a boxer. The promoter, for the most part, cares about the gates. When he gets a television deal, then he's got to care about the viewership numbers as well. I was just talking about Michael Hunter in the last vid, how he was supposed to fight Hughie Fury. I didn't realize Michael Hunter had a deal with Sky, but Hughie pulled out twice for whatever reason, and the fight fell through. And there's no one really over there at Sky, at heavyweight, for Michael Hunter to fight. So he's looking for opportunities elsewhere. Understandable. Now, Sky have been determined to stay in the game since Matchroom and Eddie left. They perhaps overpaid for the likes of Ben Whittaker and Frazer Clarke, who came out of the British Olympic squad. Both were expected to sign to Matchroom. They're both signed to 258 management with Anthony Joshua, but they ended up at Sky because they broke the bank to get them. Now, I'm looking for a copy of Frazer Clarke versus Sokolowski. I saw some highlights. From what I saw, Frazer weighing in at 19 stone. It showed up yesterday. It hasn't showed up in the fights before because he didn't fight boxers who knew what they were doing, who had good core strength and were of the ability of a journeyman like KAMIL Sokolowski. And it showed up. From the little highlights I saw, his punches look slow because of the weight. He's not explosive, perhaps because of the weight. He medaled at the Olympics in 2021. Turned pro February of this year. Had 3 fights. Them 3 fights amounted to 4 rounds of boxing. It's just not enough ring time. Just not enough. Just nowhere near enough. Sokolowski gave him a much needed, vital duration fight. Went the whole 6. Frazer won every round, according to Steve Gray. He admitted he got tired in there. You see, the propaganda thing is all good. I heard Johnny Nelson saying Frazer Clarke is one of the few fighters who seem to look in better condition each time you see him. That's all propaganda talk. He's a naturally big guy, but to carry that weight and be effective like Joe Joyce at the moment, and even Joe Joyce hasn't fought a Fury, a Wilder, or an Anthony Joshua. He hasn't fought no one like that. And he said himself he was tired, Frazer. He said himself he's not ready to be fast-tracked. And he was honest. I like his honesty. He said he's not ready to be stepped up yet. But his confidence, because he's been, talked up by Sky a lot. They paid a whole lot of money. There's a whole lot of expectation. His confidence right now is probably not matching up to what Adam Smith wants or Ben Shalom. Because he was supposed to be fast-tracked at first. And now he's saying he doesn't want to be fast-tracked. But what does that mean for Sky? Michael Hunter left because one fight fell through and they didn't have no one else for him to fight. They need Ben Whittaker and they need Frazer Clarke to come through the ranks quick. This is what I'm saying. When a TV network is involved, development, let's call it artist development like the record industry, can be compromised. Okay, we're going to fall back on this fast track thing. How much are we going to fall back? How much Jake Darnell's and Brocamontes will be tolerated by the viewing public, expecting more from the Olympic bronze medalist? Should he rematch Sokolowski? It wasn't a disaster. He won every round, but can he improve on the performance and get him out of there? The likes of Jalilov got Sokolowski out of there. Clarke lost to Jalilov in the Olympics. He gave him a very good fight, actually, but the cuts that he sustained in a fight earlier led to his defeat. So they have to wait a little while for their investments to come up big. And there's no guarantee they will, Sky. Ben Shalom is now talking about matching Natasha Jonas with Katie Taylor. A rematch. Well, that fight is on DAZN, if that's what you're talking about. It's not on Sky. Katie Taylor is the biggest draw in the sport. So now, what? You're going to have to be sending fighters to DAZN to get them exposure because you can't blow them up on Sky? They haven't moved the PPV parameter since Brooke and Khan. They haven't. I mean, she's defending them 3 straps at 154. In all fairness, she's not a 154 pounder because she's weighing in 149 for her last 3 fights at that weight limit. So maybe she can get down to 135 without too much issue. She was 129 when she fought Terry Harper. That's just a couple of years back. Now, I think Clarissa Shields is the best female boxer out there right now. That's my opinion. But in terms of cash cow, anyone looking for a fight with Katie Taylor has to go to DAZN, including Clarissa Shields. That's not me being a fanboy of DAZN, although I do rate DAZN. That's just the maths. Take my voice out of it. That's just the maths and the logistics talking. You know, it's like Frank Warren was saying, AJ ain't the A-side and all this, whatever he was saying. But the truth is, if he wants Daniel Dubois or Joe Joyce to fight AJ, do them fights happen on BT? No, they don't. No, they don't. AJ is still a way bigger draw than Daniel and Joyce. Them fights go on DAZN or the fights don't happen. That's the maths. That's the logistics. Take my voice out of it and stop getting caught up in your emotions. If Tyson Fury and AJ was something to be talked about again, well, they're going to be talking about splitting it across 2 networks. Whether you like it or not, these are the facts. AJ's still a big draw. I'm hearing people saying, is he still a pay-per-view draw? Well, you saying he isn't doesn't mean he isn't. Or you not wanting him to be, maybe, doesn't mean he's not. The facts are Tyson Fury cannot generate the money fighting anybody like he would if he's fighting AJ. Joshua still holds a lot of weight negotiating with anybody. That's the facts. You see, Shelly Finkel would be best served just staying quiet for a little while and let the boardroom do the work, because I don't want to rehash that but DAZN, and Wilder said it himself, DAZN offered him more to fight AJ than he would to fight Tyson Fury, but he opted to fight Tyson Fury. I don't want to have to keep rehashing this shit here. And when Eddie sent emails to either Wilder or Finkel, they said they're concentrating on Robert Helenius, which is fair enough, one fight at a time. But now AJ is out of this situation with Tyson Fury. Some people saying AJ swerved it, didn't fancy Tyson Fury. Fair enough, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I'm not here to argue. Me arguing with you is a waste of time, because we're just going to disagree and it's going to get nowhere. So now that fight is out the way, they were planning to fight December. AJ doesn't fancy it. He doesn't know when he's returning to the ring. Now, all of a sudden, Shelly Finkel is talking about Hearn doesn't want to come to the table. Deontay wants to fight AJ now. Well, but AJ was talking about maybe taking a year off. The whole notion that AJ has to jump when Fury or Wilder say, but Wilder wasn't willing to jump in 2019 with all that money on the table, and Fury wasn't willing to pay Wilder whatever he wanted so he would get the Undisputed fight in 2021, and Bob Arum made it clear that the arbitration will make no impact on AJ Fury happening for Undisputed. But what happened? When Eddie Hearn wanted to come to the table when Shelly Finkel and Wilder claimed they was putting up 50 mil for Joshua to fight Wilder, what were they saying? No, we don't want no meeting. There's no need for a meeting. 24 hours, take it or leave it. How did that turn out? Exactly. That was a serious attempt at negotiating the fight. 1 minute, they really want the USYK fight. 1 minute, they want Ruiz. Now they want AJ. Make your fucking mind up on who's ducking you. Who the fuck, what? Everyone's ducking you? You can only fight one fight at a time. Shelly, shut the fuck up, man. Seriously. Now he claims that their focus is on Ruiz. Well, go fight Ruiz. Go fight Ruiz. If you, Wilder and the fan base over there, want to scream AJ's ducking, who gives a fuck? I don't know what AJ's doing, but they were talking about him fighting Dillian White. I don't really like the Dillian fight, to be honest. I don't really like it. I don't think it's necessary. And if Jermaine Franklin beats Dillian, he'll get the fight. At least that's a new opponent, something we ain't seen. But all this, the whole world's ducking you shit, shut the fuck up now. Give it a fucking rest. The bottom line is, the PBC fighters can't make any money with in-house fights right now. Ruiz versus Wilder is going to do piss poor pay-per-view number. So you need either a USYK or an AJ. You don't want to fight Fury again because the likely outcome is Wilder's going to get broke up again. I don't know what's happening with the USYK fight. Wilder was saying he hopes USYK is a man of his word. USYK did say after the second win over AJ that Wilder is being considered as the next fight. And then they switched it up and said after USYK beats Fury, then he'll fight Wilder. So I don't know if that's off the table. And the reason I brought that up a few weeks back and said USYK is ducking, if AJ did anything remotely like that, everybody would have been on this ducking thing. Well, the politics of boxing are just very convoluted and very messy. We had nightmares of murder trying to get Joshua Wilder 1 on, right? And it didn't happen. Then you got Showtime and DAZN. That's holding up what? Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. That also held up AJ and Wilder from happening for how many years? I don't know why Eddie and Shelly Finkel like going public and rah. I don't know why they like doing that. Because there is no league timetable system that boxing plays to. You don't know what's happening. Because I'm reading that Anthony Joshua and Ruiz have agreed to a fight. Well, if they've agreed to a fight in 2023, what happens to Wilder and Ruiz? Why is Ruiz agreeing to that, and at the same time he's saying he's going to knock Wilder out? You can't fight two people at once. Look what's happened now. Eddie Hearn has confirmed that the IBF have now ordered USYK to defend against his mandatory Filip HRGOVIC. HRGOVIC is not going to take step-aside pay. He had to wait so long to get that eliminator against Zhang. About 6, maybe 7 opponents turned that fight down. They're not going to wait. He's not a young kid. He's not going to wait. So Undisputed between USYK and Fury next year, next March they were talking about, not sure. Now, everybody wants to blame Eddie. Well, Eddie is not the IBF. The IBF have ordered the fight. And maybe Eddie did coerce them to do so. But that's Eddie's job. He doesn't work for USYK or Tyson Fury. He's a promoter. He's working for his client. The same with the Wassermans. The Wassermans, Cali and Nice, they would have been lobbying for the IBF to make this fight. And I don't want to hear all you people who were crying that nobody would fight HRGOVIC. Nobody will fight him. Look, he's the bogeyman. Remember you were making HRGOVIC the bogeyman because nobody would fight him? I don't want to hear you crying now that HRGOVIC is holding up Undisputed when you was crying that nobody would fight him in an eliminator. The truth is, right? Here's the truth, right? After Fury knocked out Dillian White, after USYK outpointed AJ, they should have both stated that the next fight for both of us is undisputed no matter what. You know, USYK talking about, oh, I need rest, I'm tired, I need rest, and all that shit there. And Fury saying he needs this tune-up. Should have had the tune-up ages ago. You fought in May. The IBF said, we're not waiting for these two. USYK, defend your belts. You're a unified champion, defend your belts, like AJ used to. I mean, okay, Tyson Fury's going to fight twice this year. In 2020, he fought once. In 2021, he fought once. See, the IBF are probably applying a little common sense like I am, and I have been all the way through. Do I believe Tyson Fury fights on December the 3rd, then goes straight into camp to fight in March for Alexander Usyk? Because that's what he'll be doing. No, I don't believe it. And any of you who do believe it, you're a Tyson Fury fan and probably have the same breath as Gareth A. Davis, smelling of Tyson Fury's. Like, I have people on Twitter always opposing everything I say. And recently somebody says, why didn't you ever reply to what I say? Because you're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. You don't have any common sense. Why am I going to reply to you? So who are you going to blame now? Eddie Hearn or the IBF? Let's remember all the sanctioning bodies, let's say last year, 2021, and 2020, right? And 2020. After Fury beat Wilder in 2020, we were talking about AJ versus Fury, undisputed. That's what we were talking about. Daniel Kinnan, remember? Hey, my boy Daniel! Remember all that shit there? When Tyson was all up in the camera saying Daniel Kinnan's got it all sorted out? Any plans they had of ordering mandatories were put on ice because we thought Fury and AJ were going to fight. But Fury and Bob Arum ballsed it up. So they're not waiting no longer. They're not waiting. They're not listening about, oh yeah, Fury and Usyk are in talks. We don't give a shit. Go fight your mandatory. You had your chance to tie up the belts, right? You didn't take them. Now let's see you fight some mandatories. But in all truth, what the fuck does it matter? Drop the IBF belt, let HRGOVIC go fight somebody for it, and Usyk and Fury fight. It can't be for all 4 belts, because that's fucked up now. Now let's see who the best heavyweight is, because it's between them. I just watched Dalton Smith, the highlights. You know, Sky wisely not putting on full fights after they've broadcasted, they're putting out highlights now. And he defended his British 140-pound title against Casey Benjamin. And, you know, like, Dalton was very technically sound. Why was Benjamin carrying his hand so low, relying on his reflexes like that? And maybe they tailored the highlights to make Dalton look good, but, yo, come on, man. I was wondering if this guy was in Star Wars. He carried his hands so low. Get it? Oh! I've never seen Casey before. He's got some skills. He's trying to shell a lot of the shit, and I'm guessing he was successful at that for long periods of the bout, but they highlighted it how they wanted to highlight it. But Dalton Smith had a tough evening, and he retained his belts. What was interesting was Boxing Kings Media were asking him post-fight, are you going to stay? Are you going to stay with Matchroom and DAZN? Or are you going to defect over to Boxer because this fight was on Boxer and Sky. Sky won the purse bid for this fight. And he said he leaves it to his team and he just boxes. Then they interviewed Ben Shalom after. And from what Eddie Hearn said, Dalton Smith is still in contract. But Ben Shalom was there, brazen-faced, yeah, we're pursuing him, we want him over here. So what is the legal position on what Ben Shalom is doing? If Eddie's saying that Dalton is still a matchroom fighter officially, isn't that an illegal approach? But yeah, while Eddie was in Cleveland, Ohio, he made sure that Frank Smith was at the Boxer XX card in Manchester, representing Matchroom and representing Dalton Smith. They're not prepared to let him go like that. So I want to see which way that one goes and how it affects the relationship between Eddie, Adam Smith and Ben Shalom. Eddie said it was a wrong decision to disqualify Montana Love, and nah, come on, man. He was frustrated because he wasn't getting the better of it. Steve Park had him on the floor. He looked like the bigger, stronger fighter, and perhaps he had Montana's number. Montana, with a wrestling move, did he intend to flip my guy over the rope like that? Maybe not, but it's illegal to charge at your opponent like that, and the disqualification was fair. It was fair. I don't know who the woman in the commentary team was she was making love. Unnecessary roughness, the way she said that. It sounded like something I've heard in a rap, but I can't recall it. And we had Richardson Hitchins, DAZN debut against Yomar Alamo. And Alamo was in defensive mode for the most part, trying to shell shots and covering up on the retreat, not really trying to win. And it was easy for Richardson Hitchins, really. It was easy for him. He came forward behind his exceptionally long reach and picked him off, outboxed his man. He was letting his hands go. In the 7th round, Alamo was starting to feel the weight of the shots. His legs didn't look right, and they pulled him out in the 8-round interval. And that was that. Now, Richardson is a good boxer, has an exceptionally long reach, doesn't do anything spectacular. Nothing stands out. But unless his chin is dicey, he could be very hard to beat. Pre-fight, it seemed there was a beef brewing up between Hitchins and Montana. And Eddie Hearn was talking about that could be a fight in a not-so-distant future. And it could still happen even though Montana lost. It could still happen. But what about this kid, Steve Spark? He could fight Hitchins. Richardson Hitchins also wanted to fight Liam Paro from Australia, Steve Sparks' fellow countryman. You know, he's on DAZN. Maybe Richardson goes over to Australia and fights Liam Paro, because it's a bigger fight in Australia than in America. Or maybe they put Steve Spark and Liam Paro in the ring, because he's just coming off this upset win against Montana, took his O. So it's opening up at 140 for DAZN. It definitely is. They can also throw Dalton Smith in the mix if they can keep him out of the hands of the praying Boxer XX factor. I have a feeling that Eddie won't pursue trying to overturn the Montana Love Steve Spark result. I think he'll leave that alone. Take the L and move on.